Hi everyone, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I've never done one before, so just bear with me here. I really just wanted to make this video specifically for personal trainers who are newly certified and are wondering what their next step is, what the best way to go would be, or even for someone who wants to be certified and is looking into options to see what the field is like. So a little bit of background about me. My name is Rachel. I've been training for 7 to 8 years. I got certified, I started as a kickboxing instructor in 2013. I started taking kickboxing classes after my son was born. I actually gained 80 pounds during my pregnancy, so I got into the kickboxing fitness. I got certified through that. I really loved it. I started getting kind of a passion for exercise, and I saw the help that I received and the motivation that I was getting from my coaches, so I wanted to give back. I wanted to help people out as much as I was getting help, and it really inspired me. So in 2014, I got my certification for personal trainer through NASM, and my very first personal training gig was an independent contractor. So I didn't go right out into a big corporate franchised gym. I wasn't working at a big fitness center with lots of equipment. I actually worked out of the kickboxing studio with little equipment. I brought my own, and I started from there. And I've worked in a lot of different types of fitness centers as an independent contractor, as an employee. I've kind of done it all. So I wanted to make this video to explain the pros and cons of all the different types of work that you can do as a trainer, because I definitely have the experience, so I wanted to share that and give it back to someone who is wondering what's next for them, or if you're like me, I just left a job and now I'm ready to go back out on my own. So I'm going to start with employee versus independent and the pros and cons of that. So I'll start with an employee. If you're an employee of a gym, a fitness center, a studio, a boutique, anything like that, if you are an employee, there are definitely pros and cons, and all of this is just my experience. I know that there's a lot of different gyms out there, fitness centers, people run things completely different, and all of this is just my experience and what I've went through and my opinions. So we'll start as an employee. The good thing about being an employee is the taxes. So you don't have to worry about putting any money aside. It's already taken out. Once tax time comes, you get your W-2, you're good to go. Another good thing about being an employee is that you kind of have more structured pay. You have a pay schedule, and you're kind of paid this fixed hourly rate, which is good and bad, but in this case we're going to go with the positive. So you have that fixed rate, and it is what it is. You're not worrying about this person's situation is different than this one. It is what it is. So it's not your call to make, and sometimes that's a good thing. Another good thing about being an employee is that usually you are in front of a lot of people, so you get more experience as an employee. On the negative side, it's kind of a lower pay, and there's a bigger split. So again, with what I've experienced, most employees don't get what they truly deserve. The split best case scenario is usually 50-50. So if you're going to a gym and the client is willing to pay, $60 an hour for your training session, they're paying that for you because they trust you, they want to work with you. But when it's time to get paid, you're only getting half of that. So those are the pros and cons about being employee status. Now, if you want to get more into working independently, so you can be an independent contractor, and that can be, completely on your own as a sole proprietor, or you can still work at a gym but be under 1099. So with that, usually that route you can make more money, but the taxes can be challenging. So, I made the mistake once when I really started making money in this field. I wasn't putting anything aside. It was kind of just in the back of my mind. And then once tax time came, it was a mess. So that's the downside for me of being independent. But the upside is that you could possibly be working for yourself. If you're truly independent, you're working for yourself. You can make more money. You can charge what you truly think you deserve. And then usually, if you're working out of a gym, so there's some cases where, and I've done this in the past too, you're a contractor at the gym, you charge whatever you want, and then you just pay that gym X amount of money per session. So for example, let's say that the gym wants $15 for you for every session you conduct, but you're charging $60, then you're getting $45 all to yourself for that session. So that is the upside. And then I want to kind of go into the different gyms that you can work for. There's a lot. Again, I've worked in corporate or franchise gyms. I worked in completely family run, owned and operated. It's not a chain. They're just in this area. I've worked for boutiques, studios that only did personal training, big fitness centers. I've worked in quite a few. So I want to go into, if you decide to take a job at a corporate or a franchised gym. Now these are gyms like Planet Fitness. Well, Planet Fitness, we're not even going to go into that because they don't offer personal training. But it's gyms like Crunch, Anytime Fitness, 24-Hour Fitness, LA Fitness, Gold's, all of those types of gyms. So there's some pros and cons to that. So if you are applying for your very first job as a trainer, it may be right for you. A con is that typically, this is my experience, the pay is low. It's low pay, but on the upside, you will get a lot of experience. You're going to get in front of a lot of people. Now, that may not necessarily mean that you're going to get a lot of clients, but you're going to get in front of a lot of people and you're going to do a lot of consultations. So a downside to that as well is there's going to be a lot of sales pressure. So if you are someone who truly just wants to train, you just want to help people, and you don't work well under pressure like that, it may not be for you. If you're someone who likes to work under pressure, it motivates you, it gets you to work harder, and you want a lot of sales and training experience, then this may be right for you. So that's something to consider. There's a couple more things I wanted to talk about with the franchise gyms. These gyms typically tend to take kind of a one-size-fits-all approach on membership, on training agreements for members. Usually there's not too many options from what I've seen in these gyms, and I know that people that want to get involved with personal training, they want to have a couple options. So again, taking that one-size-fits-all, these long-term contracts for training may work in some areas, but they may not work in others. there may be a lot of competition in one area and not too much competition in the other. So if there's not too many options in one place, then that may work. But if you're in this franchise gym that has all these other kind of, family-run places around them offering different session lengths, different contract lengths, pay-as-you-go packages, it may be a harder sell. So that's something to consider as well. And another thing is that with these franchise gyms, you may have to sign things like non-compete or non-solicitation or a non-disclosure. The non-disclosure is not that big of a deal, but something like a non-compete you have to watch for, because if you decide to go, it may be difficult for you to go and work somewhere else that's in that area. So that is something to consider as well. So that is usually where people as new trainers end up, because you are going to get a lot of experience and they like to hire a couple trainers on staff. So you just have to look at the pros and cons, and that's something to consider when you go in for your interview. Start thinking of questions that you're going to ask. Do you have to sign a non-compete? Is there a fixed hourly rate? Do you get paid while you're not training? Can you get floor hours? Things like that. So start to come up with a list of questions for yourself when you go into these interviews. There are other options. You can find a gym probably in your area that, again, that's run, it's family owned and operated, it's local only, it's not a chain. And I've been in different situations with those kinds of gyms. I've worked in a gym that was totally local. There was only one location and I was an employee. And then I worked at another gym as an independent contractor, only one location, but I made my own rate and I just paid a small fee to the owner. So if you are wanting to work in a fitness center and have access to all that equipment, I would, lean more towards the family-owned gyms. My advice is to, try to avoid the corporate franchise gyms if you can. But again, you will get a lot of experience from that. So it's just depending on what you're looking for to start your career. Do you want to meet a lot of people? Do you want to learn a lot? Or do you want to kind of do your own thing and make your own way and set your own rates? You'll be more in control. Or do you want to get that experience? Just, watch out, because when it's time to leave, you have to make sure that you can work elsewhere. And then the last option is always the private in-home training, which is a great option. You just have to maybe invest in a little bit of equipment, nothing too crazy. I have a couple kettlebells, a couple set of dumbbells, some resistance bands, especially now with people not being comfortable going back into a gym, going into their home might be a good option. I do quickly also want to talk about insurance, getting yourself insured. If you're an employee at a gym, chances are you're already going to be insured under that gym. You will not have to get your own insurance. If you decide you want to be independent, you're going to have to get your own insurance. So that is something to take into consideration as well, and something to ask when you go and talk to the gym owner or manager. Make sure you find out about that as well, especially if you're going into someone's home. Like I said, I had just left a job at a corporate gym, and I was making a decent amount of money, but I wasn't, going with what I truly believed in. I want what's best for my clients when I train them. So I made the difficult decision to go ahead and go back out on my own, which is what I started to do. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Who knows what'll happen? Working in the fitness industry isn't easy. Make sure that it's something you really, really you love to do it. You're not doing it for the money. You're not doing it for the financial security. That will come later on, but you know, you gotta love what you do. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. I have a Facebook page if you want to follow me. It's called Personal Training by Rachel Davis. Like my page, send me a message if you ever have any questions or ever need any help. Subscribe. I want to do a lot of videos just sharing my knowledge, everything I've come across in the industry so far, and we are going to go from there. So thanks a lot, guys. Again, subscribe to my page, reach out to me, and we'll see you soon. Bye.